seeing the markets already reacting, but talk to us in terms of what goods, what industries, what kind of impact it's going to have on Americans.
Just about everything you touch, it will have an impact on cars, for example. Big car industry in Canada, for example, that half of the cars made in Canada are made by American companies.
MSNBC, once a powerhouse in cable news, has found itself grappling with a significant ratings decline, raising questions about its future. Reports suggest the network is losing viewers at an alarming rate, while controversies involving its key personalities have further strained its credibility. Today, we're taking a closer look into what led to MSNBC's current state and what might come next. MSNBC's current ratings woes. MSNBC's struggles with ratings have been a growing concern, particularly in a cable news landscape that thrives on fierce competition. The network has seen a sharp decline in viewership over the past year, lagging behind rivals like Fox News and CNN in key demographics. According to Yahoo News, MSNBC has experienced consistent drops in its primetime audience, which traditionally serves as a bellwether for success in the television news business. The report suggests that the network's programming has failed to capture the interest of younger viewers, a demographic increasingly turning to digital platforms for their news consumption. The network's reliance on partisan commentary has drawn both loyal followers and vocal critics. While this approach solidified MSNBC's role as a progressive counterpoint to Fox News during the Trump presidency, it appears less effective in an era where viewers demand fresh narratives and broader coverage. Media analyst Joe Concha described the ratings drop as, quote, a sign of audience fatigue, arguing that MSNBC's programming has grown predictable and overly reliant on divisive political commentary. Quote, you can only tell the same story so many times, Concha noted, underscoring the network's challenge in adapting to a shifting media environment. The ratings decline isn't merely a blip, it reflects deeper issues with the network's ability to remain competitive. Cable news audiences are shrinking as more viewers migrate to streaming services and on-demand content. Internal turmoil and public controversies.
The black vote is important, but Georgia's important.
Yes.
Wisconsin's important.
Yes.
And how do you, as you go, dealing with your economic message? I know a lot of people that call my radio show that says, well, what happens, how does this impact my pocket?
Controversies involving MSNBC's on-air talent have compounded the network's ratings challenges. One of the most glaring examples is the recent scandal surrounding Al Sharpton. According to a report by MSN, Sharpton faced backlash for allegedly accepting money from Kamala Harris ahead of an interview on MSNBC. Critics called the incident a clear conflict of interest, with one media watchdog stating, quote, the optics of this are terrible. It calls into question the integrity of the entire network. While MSNBC has not commented on the matter publicly, the controversy has sparked debates over the ethical standards of its programming. These controversies are not isolated incidents. MSNBC has long been criticized for perceived bias in its coverage, but recent events have amplified concerns. Sharpton's role as a political activist and media figure has always been polarizing, but this latest accusation has drawn heightened scrutiny to the network's editorial choices. Sharpton defended his actions, saying, quote, I've spent my life fighting for justice and fairness. Anyone who knows me knows I would never compromise those values. Such scandals are not limited to Sharpton. Tensions reportedly exist within the network's ranks, with staffers expressing frustration over leadership's handling of these incidents. Anonymous sources cited in the MSN report claim that morale at MSNBC has plummeted as the network grapples with declining ratings and ongoing public scrutiny. Key personalities, boosters or liabilities.
I feel like even for those of us who don't think of ourselves as business-minded people or as business people or people for whom that's our top priority, a lot of us have a lot of respect for people who do define themselves that way, right? You think that's sort of kind of a serious way to look at the world, a respectable way to look at the world.
The network's roster of high-profile personalities has long been a defining feature of MSNBC. But in recent years, these figures have become as much of a liability as a draw. Rachel Maddow, one of the most prominent faces of the network, remains a central figure in MSNBC's programming. Her in-depth, story-driven reporting style earned her widespread acclaim during the Trump administration, but her influence has waned in the years since. According to Fox News, Maddow's reduced presence, part of a lucrative new contract allowing her to work fewer days per week, has raised questions about whether she can still anchor the network's success. Quote, Maddow's star power isn't what it used to be, noted one industry insider. Her absence on most nights has left a vacuum that the network hasn't been able to fill. Maddow's case reflects a broader issue, MSNBC's reliance on personalities who are deeply tied to specific political moments. While Maddow captivated audiences during the chaos of the Trump presidency, her appeal appears less potent in calmer political waters. The same can be said of other prominent hosts like Joy Reid and Joe Scarborough. Reid, host of The Readout, has faced criticism for her sharp and often polarizing commentary, which some argue alienates moderate viewers. Scarborough, a former Republican congressman, has tried to position himself as a centrist voice, but his pivot away from conservatism has left him at odds with a portion of his audience. MSNBC's reliance on these personalities underscores a critical vulnerability. While they've been instrumental in building the network's identity, their polarizing nature and personal controversies may now be limiting its ability to adapt and grow. The role of politics in MSNBC's ratings challenges. The network's ratings decline can't be separated from its approach to political coverage. It's long positioned itself as a bastion for liberal commentary, offering a counterbalance to Fox News. But this identity, which once drew a loyal audience, now appears to be working against it. According to CNN Business, MSNBC's focus on Donald Trump during his presidency was a major driver of its success. The network's relentless coverage of his administration galvanized progressive viewers and kept them engaged. But as Trump left office and the political landscape shifted, the network struggled to find a new narrative to sustain its audience. The absence of a unifying political figure like Trump has created a void in MSNBC's programming. Viewers who tuned in for the high-stakes drama of the Trump years now seem less inclined to watch. This phenomenon, often referred to as Trump fatigue, has affected not only MSNBC, but cable news as a whole. As one analyst put it, the news cycle has changed, and MSNBC hasn't changed with it. People aren't as interested in wall-to-wall political coverage anymore. Corporate influence and strategic missteps. The role of Comcast, NBC's parent company, can't be overlooked in the network's struggles. As one of the largest media conglomerates in the world, Comcast wields considerable influence over MSNBC's operations and strategic direction. Critics argue that corporate priorities have often clashed with the network's editorial independence, creating tensions that impact both content and audience perception. According to CNN Business, Comcast's efforts to expand its digital footprint and compete with streaming platforms have sometimes come at the expense of traditional cable programming, leaving networks like MSNBC caught in a transitional limbo. One glaring example is MSNBC's limited success in adapting to the streaming era. While competitors like Fox News and CNN have invested heavily in digital content to attract younger viewers, MSNBC has struggled to carve out a similar niche. Future outlook. As MSNBC grapples with these challenges, the question remains, can the network chart a path to recovery? Industry experts are divided on whether a turnaround is possible, but most agree significant changes are needed. There will be a move by its owner, Comcast, to spin off MSNBC and CNBC into a separate company. According to CNN, quote, Comcast President Mike Cavanaugh foreshadowed the spinoff during a conference call with investors last month. He said the company was going to study whether it was a good idea to create a new, well-capitalized company that would go to our shareholders, comprised of our cable portfolio networks. The road ahead for MSNBC is undoubtedly challenging, but it's not without hope. The network has weathered tough times before and remains a significant player in the media landscape. Now it's time to hear from you. Do you think MSNBC will start to thrive again during the Trump administration? Let us know in the comments section below.